Thank you so much. Lovely to be here, Christian.
You have just said that you've been around Africa with the premiere. What did African audiences make of this?
The Queen of Katwe is a true story. It is a story from Katwe, which is the worst slum of Kampala, where I also happened to live for several years. But the fact is that really it shows us that genius is anywhere and everywhere. It has to be seen, it has to be nourished, and then it has to be harnessed into being. And that is the story of Fiona Mutesi, this 10-year-old girl who sold corn for a living. And one day she follows her brother because she sees that her brother is always satisfied in the belly and says, why? And he gets porridge in a program which teaches chess by a remarkable man about 10 years older than they are, Robert Katende, who teaches chess to the kids in the slum. And she joins this program really for porridge and then proves herself to be a kind of prodigy at chess.
That is incredible, that it was the hunger that led her to this. How good was she or is she actually as a global chess player?
Well, Fiona Mutesi is now, was already about 6 years ago, the first candidate master in Uganda in her teens, like at the age of 13. Now she's 18, 19. She's played her, I think, third Chess Olympics. And she's playing world competitive chess. She recently played Magnus Carlsen. The remarkable thing about Fiona is that she became a candidate master completely illiterate. She could not read or write. And that was what really riveted me about her story. Oftentimes, Africa is like a dark continent background for someone else's story, or a story typically of violence and despair that has nothing to do with the everyday life even I live around. And so, but ironically, this story, even though I'm surrounded by local fare, came to me from Disney, from Tendo Nagenda. This
well, you know, I was going to ask you, because you're not exactly Disney fare, right? I mean, you're gritty, you're, as you say, in Africa and all around. How did that marriage work? Did Disney try to sanitize it in any way?
You know, it's, and I don't sugarcoat my own work or my own speech, but it was the most positive, extraordinary embrace with Disney. Firstly, it was because the vice president of Disney is a Ugandan-born, wonderful, worldly person called Tendo.
And he brought you the story?
Yeah, Tendo Nagenda brought me the story in my garden in Kampala, a little ESPN Sports Journal article on Fiona Mutesi, this slum-dwelling kid who becomes a chess prodigy. And I always immediately, was riveted by it, because I'm always drawn to stories of those who are considered marginal to any society. And I always question who decides who is marginal. But here's a story that will finally give me that insight into the sort of incredible joy, what I call the lifest quality in living in Kampala. You know, you may have half an inch of water in your basin, but you will wash your hair, you will look smart, you will really do anything to go to school. That is the Kampala I live around, and that is the Kampala I never see.
I hear that Fiona's part is not played by a professional actress. Why?
Well, the film, much as it is with two legendary, legendary bona fide Hollywood legends like Lupita Nyong'o and David Oyelowo.
Of course, she played in 12 Years a Slave. He played in Selma.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And both are sons and daughters of this great continent, and that is very important for me, because really, Queen of Katwe is an African story, and is very specifically Ugandan story that I want imbued with all the layers of gravitas and tradition that we can bring to it. There are about 17 kids in the film, and all the kids were cast in the streets of Katwe and Chibuli. The lead is played by Madina Nalwanga, who is like a 13-year-old dancer that I saw in a traditional dance troupe in a hotel for tourists on Sunday nights, you know, in Kampala.
I read that she said something to you that sort of opened your eyes. She said, as a chess player, you always have to look at the other side of the table.
Yes, of the board, yeah.
What did that say to you?
You know, Fiona,
for today?
Fiona Mutesi taught me how to play chess for 3 months before I started shooting The Queen of Katwe, and I was this reckless player. And every time I would make a move, she would kind of laugh and say, "Mira, you must consider the other side of the board." And instead of, I just used to write down those lines because they're prophetic, and they're a fantastic metaphor for life and for the world today, for the politics of today. You must consider the other side of the board. I mean, I think that is really a mantra for opening one's eyes and one's hearts today, because so much of the world is being divided into these schisms, into these, what I call a myopia, and a desperate ignorance of what really is the other side, or who is the other. Right from, after 9/11, that's why I made The Reluctant Fundamentalist. I mean, because no one will know what it is to be a brown man in post 9/11 world who comes from a Pakistan or an India and tries to make his way in a Wall Street of America and is perfectly qualified, but suddenly he is Muslim, and then, you will never belong, in this current world. And one has to, raise the mirror to that and ask those questions, who is the real human being, or who are we that we consider that we are other from you and me?
Meera Nair, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Christian. It's lovely to be with you.